Alright, so I need to make it absolutely clear that no matter what anybody in the community says, I am absolutely digging the ways that Modulo is telling its story. The fact that we are actually getting sorcerer missions and everyday tasks that low-level sorcerers like Tsurugi and Yuka would be dealing with in this day and age is absolutely a great way for Akutami to flesh out the world of Jujutsu far more than we may have ever really gotten in the original Jujutsu Kaisen series. I mean, you can definitely say the world of mainline Jujutsu Kaisen is interesting, intriguing, and fun. But besides a small few select moments where we really see the day-to-day life of sorcerers, we never really got a mission-based mini arc like this, and I'm absolutely thrilled to see where Akutami and Yuji Iwazaki take this further into the story, because as the alien plotline is just slowly developing in the background, we see how the characters of Tsurugi and Maru, mostly because while Yuka is definitely there and has some fun select moments, she hasn't really gotten a dedicated story mission yet in regards to her solving everything and being the one that gets into a fight. Because right now, it overall just seems like Tsurugi is the main focus. However, you could definitely make it pretty much obvious that he should be the main focus, considering him and Maru's conflict between Tsurugi's almost prejudice against the aliens and believing that they might be a major threat to the planet, and Maru's will that wants to prove to Tsurugi that humans and aliens, especially Maru wants to prove to his twin brother as well, that aliens and humans can coexist. This is why we got a chapter like last week where it showed the difference between that mountain village and the man-eating tiger as well as the cub. Sure, coexistence can go wrong in certain circumstances, but it can also go very right in others. There's no way to know until it happens, which is what Tsurugi kind of comes to the conclusion of last week. And we even see Tsurugi start to consider Maru's feelings in regards to everything, because when Usami reveals that they are dealing with aliens, not only do Tsurugi and Yuka reveal that they knew the entire time, when Usami says that their job is to get as much detail and information about the aliens as they possibly can from Maru, instead of revealing to Usami that Maru is also on his own type of mission in regards to coexistence, Tsurugi keeps it to himself because, again, he doesn't want to ruin the relationship and friendship that is actually beginning to bud. But yeah, the side mission that this story majorly focuses on is a child that is supposedly repeating the exact same grade and the exact same class every year. And this isn't just some coincidence of a kid looking the same or having the same family name. It's a supposedly different named child, but the user's voice, the height, even everything down to bone structure is exactly similar. There is no mistaking that this is a kid that is not aging and staying in the same grade over and over again. The entire mission revolves around, is this some kind of paranormal instance, or like Yuka surmises, maybe it's just a coincidence. Either way, they need to do as much investigation as they possibly can, because despite the fact that this is something that the police would normally go into, because it's children, it's difficult for the police to intervene in school works and really kind of understand, because we do get a flashback where people are trying to contact the family of this child, and they just get blibbering nonsense and just crazy repeating questions and random words, just asking if Masaki, this child, has made 100 friends yet, which just makes the entire situation seem even weirder. So with our three sorcerers on the case, Tsurugi and Maru split up, and Yuka goes with Mino to start investigating the child's home, because according to Mino, who seems to be playing the role of Ijichi, this assistant executive manager that's able to help the kids get to where they need to be, he explains that with how just reckless and lenient this crime seems to be, it's very obvious that this isn't some kind of curse spirit, that it should be some kind of curse user who has some kind of vendetta against families, against children, is trying to pretend to be a child. Whatever it is definitely the work of a sloppy criminal, not some kind of professional organization or some kind of curse that is taking advantage of the situation. So Mino admits outright that while this is a quote-unquote investigation, most likely they're going to end up encountering a curse user and they're going to have to arrest him directly with physical combat. So Mino says he's not going to be any help there, and funnily enough, Tsurugi and Yuka both agree that, yeah, they never counted on him for any kind of combat anyway, which again just solidifies him as the Ichichi replacement. Tsurugi and Maru instantly find the kid after they split up, and Tsurugi tries to question him, but due to Tsurugi coming off as just some scary evil perpetrator, he sends the kid off and running. And as they go to chase him, the kid actually summons a Shikigami or guardian spirit to keep him safe from Tsurugi and Maru's chase. Tsurugi and Maru fight against the guardian spirit for a little bit, and after Tsurugi pushes Maru out of the way, we do get a small little internal dialogue that lets us know how Tsurugi is feeling about all of this situation. And he actually fully puts his trust into Maru after Maru trusted Tsurugi with his previous secret of him also searching for alien and human coexistence. Tsurugi knows that if Maru uses his curse technique in any way, or he gets injured in one of these missions, then that is going to look really bad for the humans, and it could potentially trigger the war between aliens and humanity. So in order to make sure none of that happens, Tsurugi opts to take care of all of this himself. But just as he prepares for battle, the child bows his head, and the Shikigami also apologizes, coming out of its battle form. This video is sponsored by GamerSupps, the ultimate energy and focus formula. Use my code NOOP now for 10% off, and thank you GamerSupps for sponsoring the channel. The groups are able to realize that this is a misunderstanding, and they're just looking to help each other. And after going to a nearby playground, the kid admits his entire story, where he came home one day and his mom was unfortunately collapsed and dead. And unfortunately, instead of revealing anything to anybody or calling the police, he buried his mom himself. And conveniently enough, before his mom died, they were having an argument about him staying in the first grade forever, because the idea of moving to the next grade, sometimes as kids, kids are fearful of random stuff. The kid didn't want to move on. It was too scary for him. So unironically, this love between him and his mom dying and refusing to not want his mom to die and refusing to move on ended up creating the Shikigami of his mom that through the Shikigami's abilities is able to keep Masayoshi, who is the kid's real name, in the first grade forever. And Maru and Tsurugi are both kind of surprised that Jujutsu is able to have been awakened at this level just randomly inside of this kid, but Tsurugi actually thinks it kind of makes sense. I mean, not only do you have the fact that he is literally the grandson of Yuta Okotsu, who has seen true love twist someone's death into a curse before, it makes sense that some little first grader that just randomly awakened to their Jujutsu ability would be recklessly using it and doing it with no rhyme or reason. So instead of there just being a curse user involved, it's just some kid that doesn't really understand what it's even doing or what's going on. That is at least until both Yuka and Mino and Tsurugi and Maru make it to the child's household. And not only is it weird that both of these people are at the same house but not interacting with each other whatsoever, Tsurugi and Yuka both do some digging and find a corpse dug and put into the earth in the house. And basically, as I kind of touched on before, Masayoshi had to bury his mom himself, so it makes sense that this would be his mom's corpse. Maru actually praises the kid because the kid's worried he's gonna get arrested. I mean, obviously you bury your mom's remains and there's no way to prove how she died or not. I mean, that would be kind of a rough situation to explain to the police, but thankfully, as Jujutsu sorcerers, even Maru understands that the kid's not at fault. The kid did everything that he possibly could, and even though he has nowhere left to go, Jujutsu High would be more than willing to take the child in, train him in Jujutsu, train him how to use cursed energy, and overall just try to add some sense of normalcy back to his life. The kid is a little upset, and justifiably so, that he won't be able to go home ever again. And Maru relates to this because Maru also was forced out of his home for a reason we don't know yet, and is like, hey, you know what? Why don't we be friends? It would be amazing if we could be friends because we're kind of in the same situation, right? And Tsurugi kind of smiles, at least until he gets a phone call from his little telekinetic machinery thing where they touch their fingers to their foreheads, whatever the heck is going on. I mean, that actually seems pretty cool. I would hope to see that phones evolve in that way in our real world. But either way, the person on the other line is Yuka, who is screaming at Tsurugi. Tsurugi's like genuinely confused as to why he's getting yelled at because he's at the kid's house right now, so where the heck are they? And when she also confirms they're at the house, that's when the whole supernatural, paranormal, cursed idea comes into play because they're like, wait a minute, how are we in the same place and not meeting each other? And Yuka says that the child is sketchy as hell because they started digging at the real kid's house and have uncovered 5 corpses. And she thinks that this is only the surface level and they're gonna be uncovering a lot more, which makes Tsurugi realize, oh crap, if we're in different places, this kid took us to a different place, and if there's 6 corpses, this kid is just killing people randomly. There's no explanation for that. And as soon as Tsurugi turns around, he's right in time to see Maru get knocked the fuck out because this kid starts peeling off its face. And it's actually some older curse user hiding beneath the skin. And we don't know what kind of curse technique is involved here. We know there's a Shikigami involved as well. This is honestly a very interesting story development in my opinion, and it's why I am excited to get what some of the, more toxic members of the community would call, side missions or filler, because I'm excited to see what the world of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo has in store, especially if these are the kinds of story that we're going to be getting. But I'm very curious to see what you guys are thinking about this story, what your guys' opinions are. If you're not liking it, this is not me calling you toxic. I'm talking about the people that, you know what I mean, people that are just talking crap to talk crap and they don't even probably read the series weekly. But listen, I've been enjoying this and I hope you guys are too. And if you want to continue going on Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo's journey with me, definitely feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll be covering this series every week as much as I possibly can. And most importantly, guys, if you do enjoy this content, hit the like button, hit the hype button. It really helps the channel way more than you know. And I promise you, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.